All right, if you run a video agency, a video production business, or you're a filmmaker or videographer, then listen up because in this video, I'm gonna break down how you can escape the feast and famine cycle forever and how you can actually implement an acquisition system into your business so that you can generate new business on demand. Let's dive right in. Okay, so yesterday I was actually having a conversation with a very talented director and DP, and this is somebody who's done shows for Magnolia Network, and I've actually worked with other people who have done work for Comedy Central, for Food Network, and have also been on narrative films and documentary work. And the thing that I hear constantly over and over again is that people get work, they get busy, they stop doing prospecting, and then that job ends and then they scramble for work again. And so ultimately that puts you in a very stressful situation where you have zero financial stability and you are constantly waiting around for the phone to ring and you don't know where your next client's gonna come from. And so if you are tired of chasing project after project just to stay afloat, and if you are a established business who has a team of people, not having an acquisition system is ultimately a huge stress on the shoulders because you don't know how you're gonna get your next client and therefore you can't keep your team busy. There is nothing more stressful than being responsible for other people and not being able to provide work for them so that they can support themselves and their family. And if you are just starting off, if you are a freelancer, if you're a one-man show, right? Maybe you do have a business, but it's just you, then you not being able to have that financial stability is obviously a huge stressor. And obviously if you're a little bit older and if you're married and if you have kids, well, obviously it's a huge problem. And so what I want to talk about today is a way for you to implement an acquisition system. And when I was talking to this individual, one of the things he mentioned is that I see all these people on Instagram and they're talking about all these things and they're these gurus and how they figured it out and like almost kind of saying like it's not real or kind of like being a little suspicious of it actually working or not. And obviously as creatives, we don't know what we don't know. We went to film school, right? Like I went to art school, I have a degree in graphic design. I knew zero about marketing and about business, but I knew from a very young age that I wanted to be a business owner. And so the funny thing is that obviously you studied your craft and you know a lot of things. And if you actually go speak to a business person, they don't know anything of what you're talking about. But if you are a business person and you go talk to a creative, well, obviously the business person knows a lot of things because that's what they've learned, right? Like they learn sales, they learn marketing, they learn how to build a business. And the reality is that they didn't teach you how to actually build a business. And so it's not that these concepts are scammy concepts or foreign concepts that are like unknown to the mass public. Like these are well-known principles and concepts. The thing is that you just don't know what you don't know. Like you didn't learn them, right? Like you didn't go to school to learn these things. And ultimately, that's what I help a lot of people do, right? Like I actually teach you the business skills. It literally took me a decade after graduating from college to actually be able to learn some of these things and implement a business for myself that draws in people and gets them to come to me. And for me, it was a total game changer because I used to be the type of person where, again, like similarly to everybody else, I didn't know where my next client was going to come. This was a very hard time in my business where I would sleep under my desk. I would work 7 days a week, 12, 16-hour days. I would cold call, which I hated doing because I'm an introvert. I would go to BNIs and networking events, which would take forever for me to find good people. I would go knock on doors, and I live in South Texas, and it's freaking hot down here. And it was the last thing that I wanted to do. But you did it because otherwise you weren't gonna eat. Now, where everything changed for me was when I did cold call the Met Spa. They were willing to hear me out. I actually helped them implement a campaign where I was able to get them a great result. We made them 25 grand in 2 weeks. And what I did is I recorded a testimonial, a video of them saying how amazing we were and the result that we were able to get them. And I actually wrote a blog article about it. And what I did is that I just promoted that material, those assets that I created, and I started advertising them. And lo and behold, what happened is that people started calling me and they said, hey, I saw what you did for this medical spa. Can you do the same thing for me? And we went from 1 client to 30 clients 6 months later. And to me, this is where it all clicked, because I was no longer chasing people. People were coming to me, and I get so passionate about it. This is it. This is what gave me the freedom in my business to have the life that I wanted. And if you don't know anything about me, I've built 2 7-figure agencies. We've done over 7 million in the last 5 years. And we've been able to do that because of the systems that we've been able to implement into our businesses. And now I mentor other filmmakers, videographers, production business, and agencies to help them do the same. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right in. Building an acquisition system is part of a 3-part framework. It starts with positioning. If you want to attract in the marketplace, you need to have some kind of positioning in the marketplace. And the way that we can ultimately define this, and it starts by deciding who it is that you want to serve, right? The who. And a lot of people refer to this as niching, and some people overcomplicate it. They get very obsessive about figuring out which niche is the best niche. I ultimately walk people through a process, and I have a separate video on my YouTube channel that you can go and check out in regards to niching. But your niche could be so many things. Like, your niche could be your local market. Your niche could be documentary work. Your niche could be fitness industry, networks, medical spas, or home services, whatever it might be, right? There's several ways to go about it. But ultimately, you have to pick something. You have to understand that we're in a very competitive marketplace, right? Like, even nowadays, like, anybody can just pick up a camera and start filming. And the only way that you can actually stand out is by being more specific in who it is that you want to serve. At the end of the day, I would rather work with a specialist versus a generalist. And the reason why this is important, specifically in you attracting more clients, you generating more demand for yourself, once you know who it is that you want to serve, you then have to actually spend the time to learn about that person. You have to understand that the only way a business exists in the marketplace is if it is solving a problem. A lot of people, they have a camera and they're like, great, I have a camera, like, let me go and see, who needs my services and, try to make some money, right? Like, a lot of times you're thinking about it wrong, because the way that you should be thinking about this and where it starts is that first you need to ask yourself, again, who it is that you want to serve, and then what problems do these people have? And if you could really spend the time to understand what are their pains, what are their wants, what are their frustrations and their desires, and you get a thorough understanding of this person's psychology. What keeps them up at night? What are they stressed about? What do they really want, and why do they want that? What is the desire behind their wants? Because at the end of the day, we all want to be understood, right? And we want to work with somebody who understands their problem, and not just understands it, but also has a solution to solve it. And so the reason why when I started advertising and I started getting a lot of people reaching out to me instead of me having to chase them down was because I understood the problem they were going through. In that specific scenario, they had just been sold this machine that was a 6-figure lease. They had to make those payments every month, but they didn't know how to bring on patients for that particular service. So they had this big problem and this big pain. So when I go into the marketplace and I talk about how I helped solve that same problem for another medical spa, well then guess what? They now want to talk to me because they have this deep burning pain point that they want someone's help to solve. And that's how you have to be thinking about this. You can't think of it as a freelancer. You have to think as a business owner and think, okay, I'm here to solve problems. I only have a business if I can solve problems. So what problems does my market have? So once you understand their pain points, then you can create what's called an offer. And you might have heard, people talk about offers and it's this big mystical thing. And do I get it right? Do I get it wrong? All an offer is that once you understand what people want, then all you have to do is give them that. And the simplest way that I can explain it for people is, look, like, what does your ideal client want and how don't they want it? And I know that sounds funky, but the best way that I can explain it is, if I'm a fitness coach and I wanted to bring on more clients, I would spend the time to understand what it is that they wanted and how they don't want it. And so what I would then probably realize is that people want to lose weight, but they don't want to stop eating pizza. So then if I'm a fitness coach and I'm trying to promote myself, the way that I could promote myself is by saying, hey, I'll help you lose 10 pounds without giving up the foods you love. And so at the end of the day, give them what they want and how don't they want it. And the how don't they want it is very important, because people want their problem solved the way they want it to be solved. Simple as that, all right? Frankly, like, until you live this, then you're gonna realize, oh my God, it was this simple, right? So that's number one. You have to position yourself correctly in the marketplace, and you have to create an offer. Number two is that now you need to have a system to become known in the marketplace. A lot of people get this wrong, and it's actually very sad to see, because, you know, this gentleman that I was speaking to, and I speak to a lot of people that are extremely talented. They've done some amazing work. Like, their visuals are top notch, right? Like, it is insane. But yet they're still starving. Like, they're still struggling. And it's really sad to see, because at the end of the day, you realize that it doesn't really matter how good you are. If people don't know about you, well, then there's literally no point in you being any good. And so really, we just need more people to see you every single day. Like, you need to be top of mind. And there's really only two ways to do that. You can do outbound and you can do inbound, right? So outbound, you're probably already very familiar with. You're maybe doing cold DMs, you're sending out emails, you're getting on LinkedIn and sending out messages, you're cold calling, you're going to the network groups. And all you're doing is like taking your reel and you're putting it manually in front of a bunch of eyeballs, right? Like a bunch of people, you know? That's great. That's definitely one thing, and it 100% works. It only works though if you shoot for volume. Like, I'm gonna speak to 100 people, or I'm gonna show my reel to 100 people, and only one person is gonna be interested. You need to actually have credibility. And there's several ways to get a credibility. I'll maybe make a separate video about that. But essentially, I don't like outbound. As I told you earlier, like, I hated it. I'm an introvert. Like, it just really sucks. For me, that's why I fell in love with advertising. Because inbound is where you implement certain systems and get people to come to you. And the beauty about advertising is that you eliminate the prospecting process, and you just basically put dollars down and tell the algorithm, tell Facebook, tell Instagram, hey, show my reel to these specific people. And it's so amazing because you can specifically target the type of people that you want to them for see your stuff, right? Like, you're getting more eyeballs on you. The really nice thing is that you can get thousands of eyeballs every single day looking at your content. And if it's positioned correctly and it has good messaging like I spoke about, and it has a good offer, and it's actually like speaking to your ideal client, well, then guess what? They're gonna wanna talk to you the same way they actually wanted to talk to me, right? I saw what you did for that Mets ball. Can you do the same thing for me? And so inbound wins, right? Like, if you use short form content, and this is why I believe like using the social funnel is so powerful, because what we do is that we turn your Instagram into a lead generation machine. You want to become the best known, right? And you should be promoting yourself every single day. You should be talking about what you do. You should be talking about who you work with. You should be talking about the problems that you help that person with as much as possible, because you want to be top of mind. When an agency acquires a new client and they're looking for a video production business to hire out, they're gonna think of you because they're seeing you every single day. And if you're going straight direct to the consumer, when that client is actively saying like, hey man, like, this guy actually seems legit, I can see how the work that he's done, I really like that work, and I see how he's helped other people, well, maybe he can help me too. Would that be a wild assumption to make? It happens. And so guess what? Then they reach out to you. And this was so satisfying for me to see with one of my own clients. This is David Orgile, who's actually have another video on my YouTube channel. Go and watch that. I'll link it somewhere here. This guy's amazing. This guy is extremely talented and skilled. Really high production quality work based in Orange County. And, struggling with a lot of the same problems that a lot of people are. We finally helped him get an ad going, and we started promoting his work. And then guess what? All of a sudden, $16 on advertising. He got a booked call with a 7-figure ophthalmologist. Insane. And every day that he has that ad running, he's getting people reaching out to him, wanting to talk to him and see if they can work together. Again, like, until you actually experience that, you don't even know that it's actually possible. Like, you're always questioning, like, could this be possible? It 100% is. These are just basic marketing and business principles. The only problem is that you just don't know them. The only reason why it sounds foreign to you and like, could it actually be true? It 100% is true, because guess what? Every Fortune 500 company that exists implements these same tactics. And the reason why I love advertising is because you acquire data. And there's really two numbers that if you can get these numbers, then you will forever solve the problem of, I don't know where my next client's gonna come from. And you will have predictability and certainty in your business. And that is, number one, what is your cost of acquisition and what is your average sale value? And so what does this mean? Average cost of acquisition means, let's say you spent $1,000 on ads and you acquired a $10,000 client. Well, guess what? That means that you put $1 in and you got $10 out. That's a 10 times return on your investment. You just created an ATM machine for yourself, okay? And so the question then becomes, how many times would you be willing to give Facebook $1 so that you can then get $10 back out? Like, how good would that be that you actually have an acquisition system where you don't have to guess anymore? You know how much you need to spend and you can bring on a new client. So that's amazing. And the reason why, again, I love the social funnel is because when you use leverage video, it's gonna get people to know you, like you, and trust you. Like, it makes actually having a sales conversation with them way easier. Because at the end of the day, they already saw your work, they like your work, they probably already like you as a person because they've seen some of your stuff. And guess what? They probably have something in common with you. That already in itself just makes it a way easier conversation to have. And so I love it because people are already pre-sold in wanting to work with you. They just want to get on a call with you to see if it's a good fit and if they can actually afford it. Which then leads me to point number 3. Once you do these things, you are going to get people wanting to talk to you and you're going to have a sales conversation with them. A lot of people freak out when it comes to sales because they've never done sales before and they think they have a negative connotation to sales. Look, man, all sales is helping people solve problems. You're just helping people. For me, I'm not a great salesperson. Like, I didn't study sales and it was a little hard for me to kind of get used to it. But at the end of the day, I can do just fine in sales because I have conviction and I have passion. And sales is simply just a transfer of energy. If I have conviction, if I believe in my product and I know that I can help people and I'm passionate about doing it, then that energy gets transmitted and then it's infectious. People want to work with me because of how excited I am. I literally had a client one time tell me, like, Luis, I see how passionate you are about this. Let's do it. Like, this is insane. You know, like, it works. All right. And so at the end of the day, I implement a method, and I say this all the time to the people I work with. Sales is just like storytelling. If you want to tell a good story, you have a hero who has a problem, who then meets a guide, takes them through the hero's journey, and then ultimately it's either life or death, right? It's either something good happens or something bad happens. And that same story framework can be applied to you doing sales. Because at the end of the day, the person you're talking to is the hero and they have a problem and they are here, they're point A and they want to get to point B. You as the guide, your responsibility is to help figure out if the problem they have, you can actually solve it. And then create a bridge to get them to from point A to point B, and then talk to them about what are the steps, what is the 1, the 2, and the 3 to help them get to where they want to go. And if they do get to where they want to go, well then great, they live happily ever after. And if not, well then, it's their choice, right? And so it's just simply having a conversation discussing these elements, right? And so if you can tell a good story through video, then you can have a sales conversation that tells a good story. Because again, they're already coming in with this attitude of like, this guy's cool, I want to talk to him, let's see what's up. And so that's how you build an acquisition system. Get your positioning down, create an offer, then get that offer in front of the people that you want to be working with. And the fastest way to be doing that is through advertising. And then lastly, get them on the phone and have a sales conversation that tells a story. And if you can do those things, you will consistently have demand for your services. Don't stop. You should be advertising. Like, if you are at a job, right, like, you don't have time to be doing prospecting. So let the ads do it for you. And that's the problem, right? That's how you escape the freelancer trap, because you're scrambling for work, you get a job and you're busy and it's great, but then once you lose that job, then you go and scramble for work again. The reality is that you just don't have the time, right? Like, and so what if you just eliminate that entire prospecting phase and you let the advertising do the prospecting for you, so that while you're on your job, your ads, your content is out there in the marketplace and it's speaking to people and it's generating demand for you. So what you can do is you can actually create a wait list so that once you're done with this job, you have 10, 30 people who already inquired to want to actually work with you. And so you'll always then have a consistent pipeline of people that want to work with you. So hopefully that resonates and that makes sense. If you want help in actually building all this stuff out, give me a follow on Instagram, shoot me a message, and if you want to chat, I'm more than happy to. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.